Okay, let's get started. It is 4:01, and I want to first start off by thanking everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. My name is Dan Bostrom. I'm the Rails Member Engagement Manager, and this is the Rails Online Roundtable. My library is grants for school libraries. That's a long title. I appreciate you all again for being here. The next hour we're going to talk about these grants. These grants are fairly new, but as I'll kind of get into, there's a history behind these grants a little bit, and there's a lot of new elements to tell you about, and I want to be able to take some time to answer your questions. So with me this evening is Mary Jo Matusik from ISLE. She's the incoming president. Thank you so much for joining me, Mary Jo. Um, we're going to spend some time talking about these grants, and then we're going to kind of do a Q&A at the end, which will give you a chance to interact, tell us your questions or ask your questions, and kind of talk about what you are hoping to do with your own grants. So let's jump in. Again, I'm going to start pretty general about what these grants are, and to do so, I'm going to go all the way back in terms of the My Library Is campaign. So about 2 years ago, Rails was doing some discussions around the system regarding strategic planning. We were talking to libraries, we were talking to all different types of libraries about the things that they needed help with. And one of the biggest things that we heard from libraries was that they could use some help telling their story. We heard this over and over again. They could use marketing resources, they could use grants, they could use a place to share ideas. So we decided that we were going to start a pretty big campaign to help libraries do just exactly that. So the My Library Is campaign was born in 2019, and we launched the My Library Is website. You can see it there in June of 2019. And when we did that, we began accumulating resources from outside places. We accumulated resources from professional associations like ALA and ILA and other places. We got resources from our own libraries. We started something called a sharing showcase, which I'll explain in a little bit. But we wanted this to be a place where libraries could find resources to help them promote their value, to help them tell the story to people like boards, the public, teachers, parents, even students about what role the library plays in their organization and in their communities. And this was a fairly major thing that we were undertaking, and we decided that we weren't just going to create this website. We were also going to host training, networking, grants, all different types of events around this topic so that people knew that we were serious about this topic. So when we created the website, one of the first things we did was we created this sharing showcase. And it is a place where libraries can go and put their own materials in to say, hey, we're doing this already. This is what we're doing. This is how we've done it. So some examples of things you'll find in there are videos, marketing plans, social media posts, style guides, a ton of other things, press releases. It's a place for libraries to put their own materials in there. And anybody who's on staff at a library at either of the systems, Rails or Illinois Heartland, can log in and access that material. All you need is your L2 username and password. And I've linked it here, and I'll share the link to all of our resources and this presentation in the chat at the end here. But I just want to point out that this is a great place to find inspiration. So if you are thinking of what you want to do with your grant, you are thinking of how you want to create a video or how you want to redo a marketing plan for your school library, this is a great place to start. This is a great place to find other things that libraries are doing. We never like to reinvent the wheel. We always like to borrow. Libraries are great at borrowing, as you all know. So I think this is a really good place to turn, and we've been trying to solicit more and more from our libraries. To, give us what you are already doing. Help us and share what you're already doing, and make sure that people know about it. So when we created the My Library Is campaign, we realized that we also needed to put some financial backing behind it in terms of things that our libraries could use. So we had a previous existing grant. The grant was called the Partnership Grant, and that grant program was for libraries, different types of libraries, and other organizations to work together. So we've had examples of school libraries working with public libraries in their town, school libraries working with nonprofits, school libraries working with local community organizations and local government, to create a program or to do a project or something like that. And actually, that image that you're seeing right there is from a school library that applied for a partnership grant and received it. That was from Marist High School and High School Library, and they put together a project that was a virtual escape room, and they worked with nonprofits and community organizations in their community, to offer. Actually, I'm sorry, they worked with the Blue Island Public Library, to put together this event for teens in their area, and it was really successful. But when we started the My Labor's campaign, we realized, okay, let's morph those partnership grants into the My Library Is grant program. So we changed the entire focus of the grant. We said, from now on, we only want to fund projects that are designed to tell the story. We want to hear from libraries that, we want to get applications from libraries that are telling their story, that are finding a way to, again, make that case for their value. So we made that open to any type of public library in 2019, and so these grants ran, from July 2019 until June 2020. And there are some really good examples, which I'll talk about at the end here, from libraries that did receive these grants. And at that time, it was open to any type of library. This year, we decided that we would focus specifically on schools. We're in our FY20 financial, I'm sorry, FY21 financial year, and so we decided, let's focus solely on schools, because this is something that we feel that libraries need help with, that school libraries especially are looking for. They're looking for support from the system, from their school, from their association, their state association, on how to tell their story in ways that they can tell their story. So we sought a collaboration with ISLE, and we are very excited about that collaboration. Mary Jo, I'm going to bring you in here at this point. Would you just talk a little bit about why ISLE decided to get involved in this, and from your perspective, what value do you see from these grants?
Well, we all know that our library programs in schools are one of the first things cut. And we wanted some way to help everyone put out good news that that you shouldn't be cut, and get our message out. So this is one of the things that we're doing with Rails, is getting our message out, how to do it in a professional manner, how to get everything out, so that you can tell your story to everyone, from your students to your parents, your fellow teachers, your administration, your community, and onwards towards the legislators. So
Yeah, great. I could not have said it better. One thing that we decided to do with this collaboration is that typically when we were assessing grants, in the previous iteration, when it was the partnership grants, we would have all different types of libraries come and evaluate those grant applications. And this year, we said, okay, well, that's not really appropriate, because we don't want to have public libraries evaluating what school libraries are doing. And we said, ISLE already has a very successful grant program. There are tons of ISLE offers a ton of different scholarships and awards, for their member libraries. Let's talk to ISLE and see if they'd be willing to put together a group of school librarians to help evaluate these grants. And they were totally willing to do so, which is awesome. And in conversations with ISLE, one of the other things we kind of found out is that, school librarians are extremely busy people, and especially this year, as we are all finding out. When we originally planning these, I don't know that we understood how insanely busy, but we decided, one thing that maybe that we could do to help save the time of our applicants is to allow them to do video applications. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you will put together the video application in a little bit, but I do think that this will be something helpful. I think it'll be. I'm hoping it'll be fun for y'all. And I know a lot of you have these skills and are already doing these skills in your own schools. You're spending a ton of time on Zoom, so I'm hoping that this will just save you a little bit of time. Mary Jo, anything else about kind of the collaboration that you want to add? Nope.
No, we reviewed the grant, we made some suggestions, which Dan incorporated, so yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Okay. So before you apply, we're going to talk about how do you apply, but before you apply, I just want to kind of offer some details on what we're looking for. So the grant is 10. It's 10 individual awards of up to $1,000 a piece. So you can apply for $1,000, but you don't have to. If you want to submit an application for 450 or $100, that is completely up to you. We will try to fund as many grants as possible, but our intention has always been, we have $10,000 to spend. Let's offer, let's have a maximum, and then if it comes down to it, we might be able to fund more than that based upon how much people actually need and want. So what we're looking for is we're looking for projects that have a focus on marketing, promotion, and advocacy. It doesn't necessarily have to be, like I want to create a marketing campaign. It just needs to be something like, I think that this will help me create a bigger, create more awareness, or have the impact of making, uh, again, principals, teachers, parents in my community more aware of the things that the libraries can do. And this can be, if you already have something that you think will fit into this, that's great. But, we will invite you to apply for funds for any type of project. It can be new, it can be something that you want to do, it can be something that you're already doing to augment that with these funds. But we do want to indicate that this we're hoping for a long term focus. We're hoping for something that you are thinking ahead, to be beyond 2021. We don't want this just to be kind of a one and done. We're hoping that this will be something that lives on and you can be able to use over and over again. And then, I did put the deadline in there. That's coming up. That's a little under a month from now. So, and I know a lot of you are hoping for a very restful holiday season. So, now is a good time to start thinking about these, because they're going to sneak. I know that they're going to sneak up on us in January 2021. Okay, let's talk about the types of programs. We do have some restrictions in the types of programs that we are not going to fund. So I'm going to start on the right side there. This is something that is a little bit of a holdover from the partnership program. When we were doing this, we originally got a lot of feedback from libraries. They were looking for, like, kind of one-off things. Like, they wanted to bring in an author, they wanted to do a book fair, they wanted to do this kind of one-time big event. And we've kind of always said, like, that's not really what we're interested in funding. We're more interested in, again, something that it's going to be ongoing, something that students are going to be able to utilize year in and year out. That is something that's going to continue along the line, and kind of keep you at a high level of functioning in your library. It can be for materials. It could be for technology. It could be for a new type of technology or service that you want to implement at your library. It could be for equipment like a video camera or something like that. It could be for an outside consultant, or some type of service that is being provided by a firm or something like that. The two things that we won't do is we won't pay staff time, and then we won't do alcohol or food, or any gifts like that type of thing. So, I think most of that is kind of self-explanatory, but I do have to kind of cover that, just in case. So when you are going to apply, you're going to go to the My Library. Sorry, you're going to go to the Rails website. And one of the biggest things that I think people run into is a problem is they go to they go to the grant page, and I can copy the link on there, and it says must be logged in with your L2 credentials, and they say what is L2, and I understand that a lot of you don't use L2. That's fine, but L2 is our membership database, and it's also the place where you would get your login information for the Rails website. So if you don't know that, that's going to be your first step is go to L2, create your account, or request to reset your password if you have an account and you just haven't logged into it for a long time. So when you do that, you're going to go back to the Rails website. The application is going to appear at the bottom of the page. So you have to scroll all the way down. And while you're scrolling down there, make sure that you stop at the criteria for evaluation. And that is where we've put together our rubric. And actually, I'm going to jump out of this PowerPoint and show you what it looks like because I think it's worth kind of reviewing. Okay, so on the Rails website, you're going to look under services, and you're going to see the My Libraries grant right there. And you can see I'm logged in with my L2 username and password up there. You can see my name, Dan Bostrom. And if you click on the My Libraries grant, it's going to take you to this page right here. And again, I'm not seeing that login with L2 because I'm logged in. And this is the criteria for evaluation. And it looks a little bit like this. So this is your cheat sheet. This is what we're looking for from you. We're looking for basically for three things. Oh no, this is the wrong one. Is this the right one? I think this might be the wrong one. You know what? I will let me check that link and I'll send it to you because I think I had the wrong one in there. Um, anyways, so the application is below here, and this is something that you're going to need to look through and make sure that you have everything that you're uploading. Again, there's three things. We are looking for a budget, we're looking for a project description, and we're looking for a statement of impact. And those are the three things that we're looking for from you. So when you come in, make sure that you are reading all of these grants and conditions. Make sure that you're looking at the examples that we have listed here, and then I will make sure that this is updated. I'm thinking that maybe this was not updated. No, okay, this looks like the old one. Okay, all right, sorry about that. Okay, back to the presentation. Again, three important aspects: the budget, the description, and this is where you can put in a video link, and I'll talk about that in a second, and then also the potential for impact. Okay, video applications. All right, so first of all, we are telling everyone we can't host all your videos, so please don't send us the video file. Those are very big files. We are asking you to put it on YouTube or Vimeo or some other third-party video site. So put it on there, send us the link. You can put that link directly into the description section of your project, of your application. And then also don't forget to create a budget. That's a little hard to represent in the video. We understand that. So we would appreciate it if you put together, it can be a Word doc, it can be an Excel doc, but you can put that right into that budget section. Just make sure that you do that, and also the potential for impact. But the potential impact you could actually include in the video as well. That's fine. So that is something you can do. Your video doesn't need to be long. It can be 3 to 4 minutes, whatever you need to sort of describe the type of project that you want to do, and also again make that case for your potential for impact. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about some examples of projects that have done in the past. This is last year when we were doing the My Libraries grants, and it was open to any type of library. So we had an application that was funded. This was from the Gerber Hart Library and Archives, and they proposed a project to create a podcast to sort of tell their story. So they would interview people who have been involved in projects, who know about the history of their organization, and they are the Midwest's largest LGBTQ library and archive, and so they had all these stories. They recorded them. They used the funds to pay someone to edit the podcast, to record and edit the podcast, and then they promoted their podcast, via email, via their email lists, via the social media, and actually, they are just starting to release these episodes right now, and we're really excited about it. You can see that that's an Instagram post from the library, so we're really excited about that. Uh, this is another one, actually, they just finished this. This is really cool. The Fox River Grove Public Library District, they created 2 short videos kind of to talk about the services and the role that they play in the community. They worked with a marketing company that helped them produce these videos. They're really professionally done. They're really great. They really make a clear statement about what role that the library plays in the community and what value they bring to their patrons. So this is actually something you can go and watch, and we have a blog post up there right now on the Fox River Grove Public Library videos. So these are just kind of some examples. Mary Jo, I'm going to bring you back a little bit. You know, have you done any when you think about this? What type of videos or what type of projects are you thinking that a school library might kind of undertake?
One thing I'm thinking is that with all the emphasis on diverse books, you might create add to your collection of diverse books and create a marketing campaign for it. Something that goes to all your students so that they know you have the books that represent them. Um, Something like that. You might, I put in the links also, the toolkit from AASL for promoting school libraries. There might be something else in there that you want to incorporate. Um, that's the 2 things I thought of. Something you hand out to parents and say, here's what the school library does for your child, or it's online, something like that.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. And these aren't necessarily these aren't the partnership grants anymore, but that doesn't mean that you can't partner with another organization. And I like the idea, and I especially like the idea of like diverse books, and maybe you could work with your public library or some other community organization to kind of help you decide which books to purchase and how to supply them. So that's great. That's a fantastic example. Thank you. Um, okay. So at this point, Mary Jo and I have kind of reached the end of our examples and our overview of this grant, and we want to take some time to open it up for questions. I really don't think that we're going to go all the way to 5 tonight, which is fine, which is great. Shorter videos are better. So, but we want to hear from you. What are you hoping to do? What type of projects? What type of questions do you have for us? We'll give everybody, and you can put your questions and write in the chat. In the meantime, I might stop my video for a second to get the links both to this presentation and then also to the My Library Is grant program. So hold on 1 second. All right. Okay. Here is the link to the grant. All right. And then here is the link to my, whoops, here's the link to my presentation. And there are things linked in there in my presentation that you should be able to click on. One of the questions that I have actually heard from some people is, can we purchase books? And purchasing books is fine. That's totally fine. I actually spoke with somebody. This was a couple weeks ago, who was thinking of doing that exact thing. They were thinking of purchasing some diverse books. They were they were going to put together a display, and they were thinking of I want to purchase some I want to purchase some equipment to make the display. I want to purchase the materials. I want to spend some money in terms of creating creating like nice displays. Nice handouts, that type of thing, to actually promote this to our students. And I thought that that was a really nice way to do so. Um, okay, let's see here. I'm gonna go start sharing again. Um, yeah, you all are a very quiet group. Um, any questions you have?
Dan,
Um,
I have a question.
sure.
Um, I noticed where some of our participants are from today. They're all from Zion Benton.
Mhm.
Could they possibly do something district-wide, or should it be school-wide only?
That's a great question. It can be either. And we would accept applications um, from either your individual schools or district wide. If you wanted to do something district wide, that's fine. We understand that that each school library can be different, and can be different across the district. So you're welcome to do either one. If you and that might be something where $1,000 won't cover it for just for just or for the entire district, right? So it might be better to break it up into individual projects. So I do want to tell people, if you do that, just make sure to note that that these are different projects that you're doing. But I do like that idea a lot. Oops. um, yeah, Deb says two different districts, although Beach Park does send its send its schools to our high school. Yep, that's good. I love it when I see that different districts cooperate, and that there's cooperation amongst schools and districts as well. Yeah, we've received some questions from people who say, like, again, like how long, and I think I think we are pretty clear in the rubric, which again I have to relink, about how much you need to upload, or how much you need to write in each of the applications. And that was a great suggestion by the folks at Isle. So for most of the stuff, for if you need to create a description, if you need to create a statement for impact, it's only a couple paragraphs. We're not looking for a really long set of a description or statement of impact from you. We do want you to be fairly detailed about the budget. If you are saying you're going to buy a collection of books, we would like you to at least do some estimates of the books that you think you're gonna purchase, and be mindful of prices. If you just say I want to buy some books, and we don't know, and you say $500, and we don't know what those books are, it's going to be a little less easy for us to review that and say, like, okay, that's a strong budget. Janae, okay, that's a good question. Janae says, when would the grant be awarded? Final report due? Excellent question. So the application deadline is January 15th. We typically need, like, probably from between 60 and 90 days to determine the recipients. And they're going to go through a process of voting on the IO folks are going to go through a process of voting on these, and then we're going to determine how many projects we can fund. So we will probably, you'll get an update from us probably in late January in terms of where we are in the process. We won't announce the awards at that time, but probably like late February to early March is a good timeline in terms of when you will hear about your status as an applicant. Um, when we award those funds, they'll come directly from Rails, and they will come to your school. It will make them out to your school. At that point, you have a full calendar year to spend the funds, and we will also be looking for a final report from you as a recipient at the year timeline, basically a year from when you are awarded the funds. So the project would need to take place between March and August. No, the project would need to take place between March and March of 2021, basically. Uh, to March of 2022. So you do have a full year. Yeah, yeah, it is awesome. Yeah, and we understand that, especially for you all. If you're a lot of times in school libraries, if you're a lot of times if you're looking to tackle a project like this, you have to do it the next semester. And so, we understand that people in the middle of spring semester aren't going to be able to immediately jump in and do this project. We understand that they'll have to wait until probably like August in the fall to do the project. We want you to be able to evaluate it as much as possible, and then write the final report, probably in the new calendar year of 2022. We do also, I should also note that we do have, if you are a recipient, we do have a request, and that is that you will present at a Rails member update. And what that means is Rails member updates are, they're basically like system-wide meetings. This isn't something you would need to create a PowerPoint for or create a Google Slides or anything like that. We would just ask you to talk about your project for about 5 minutes, and that would be around the same time as you submit your final report. So you won't need, if you do receive the funds, you'll receive the funds, you'll be able to do the project, and then we would ask you to present at a member update. And so it's nothing to be afraid of. It's a meeting kind of like this. It'll be over Zoom. You'll be able to participate from your school, and we will try to make it as easy as possible for you to participate. But basically, we want people to know about what you did. We want people to hear about your project. So all great questions. Thank you so much for the questions so far. They're really good. Um,
Dan,
mhm,
another consideration for Rails is that when you send the money to the district, make
yeah,
sure they know
that's
that it is for the school year or for the whole year,
yeah.
because usually June 30th, they take our money back that hasn't been spent and add it in somewhere else.
We'll make that. We will definitely that will definitely make that consideration. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, and we all know that a lot of times you don't control, especially the money parts or the communication parts, and that's a little bit difficult. So we'll do our best to work with you in terms of how the funds are distributed, and where you want. That's one thing that I always do as as a awarding organization, is make sure that we know which office the money is going to, and then some sort of explanation of what the funds will be used for. And there's you will have to sign an agreement form with us. We do ask that if you don't expend all of the funds at the end of the grant, that you will pay back Rail, that the funding will come back to Rails. But a lot of time, most of the time, that doesn't happen. And most of the time, schools are aware and using the funds to purchase as much as they can. I will also note that that a lot of you don't have a ton of budget for materials or other technology and things like that. If you do and are willing to contribute some in-kind funds towards your project, please note that in your application. Sometimes that helps. That is not a requirement at all, but it's sometimes it's good to know that that you all are. That you're thinking about this, and you're thinking about other funding sources and things like that. That's just a way to, I think, strengthen your application. But again, not necessary. If your application is, my school library is strapped for cash. We use as much as I can. I use my 100% of my budget every single year, on as much as I can for my kids. That's I mean, that's a powerful storyline in itself. So we understand different circumstances will arise for each school library. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any other questions. Mary Jo, is there anything else you think we should cover here? Talk about? No. Okay. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I think that about covers everything.
Cool. Okay. Well, so I want everybody to remember that this is recorded, and we're recording this. And tomorrow I'm going to put this onto the Rails YouTube page, and you'll be able to access it whenever you want. I will also, remember you can always contact myself or Mary Jo and ask us a little bit about the grant, and we'd be happy to talk more about it. I will make sure to communicate the deadlines on the ISLE email list and in the Rails School email list when it's coming up, so that you all remember it. Thank you all for taking the time tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you to ISLE. Thank you to Mary Jo for coming and devoting some time here. Um, I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to reading all the great applications. I know that you all are very creative and have your own ideas, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thanks again. Have a great night.